Regardless of who's bankrolling America's political campaigns, the United States is seen as the hallmark of democracy by many people worldwide. But most Americans choose not to take advantage of their political rights. The United States has the second lowest voter turnout rate among the world's developed nations. In fact, only 57% of American citizens voted in the 2008 presidential election, and a mere 38% of Americans made it to the polls in the 2010 national elections. Those figures pale in comparison to the 89% of Belgians or the 85% of Swedes who voted in their last elections. So CCTV's Nina Donaghy set out to find out why so few Americans are engaged in the political process.
A summer's day in the nation's capital, enjoyed by ordinary American citizens who can name their vice president.
What's his name? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
And their home state senator.
I'm from Michigan. No, I can't.
They're up to date with political process.
Can you tell me what a super PAC is?
A super
what?
A super
PAC. PAC.
And know the membership of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Kennedy is his name, no? Or, well...
This is who will cast votes in November's presidential election. If Barack Obama and Mitt Romney can get their supporters engaged enough to go to the polls. Professor Jan Leakley is an expert in voter turnout.
Voters respond when they have choices between candidates. The bigger the difference in the candidates' policy positions, what they offer voters, the more likely they are to vote because it makes a difference. And so why, if candidates are similar, why should you spend your time and effort and energy showing up at the polls on Election Day?
In 2008, candidate Obama's soaring rhetoric captured the masses' imagination. But was it his message or his deft campaign strategy that really put him in office?
I'm here with you in that fight.
They have a very dedicated and focused campaign organization, both using social media as well as the good old-fashioned organizing groups in neighborhoods and especially urban areas where a lot of the vote comes from. And he'll resurrect those organizations. They know what's worked. They have a database.
However, Leakley says motivating on a grand scale is a defining skill of a successful politician.
Someone has to be willing to get out of bed and say it matters. And if you see a political leader who either has a vision or is speaking positively, whether that's Obama in this election or Reagan when he ran with his, Morning in America, which is often attributed as motivating folks to show up at the election.
But what about the role of mass media? Did Obama learn from John F. Kennedy, who in the 1960s used the new medium of television to engage voters in his use of the 21st century equivalent, social media?
In the Kennedy era and beyond, there was one message, there was one major media source, and now we have a new type of media where there isn't a single presidential campaign. Campaigns, I don't know if slice and dice is the right term, but they have a message for each of their audiences. To get people to turn out, I think their social media will matter the most for youth, who are far more likely to be online than older generations.
But one of the most dramatic episodes in US voting history, where literally every single vote counted, was in 2000. The contested election that saw George W. Bush beat Al Gore in a painstaking manual vote recount.
Before 2000, no one ever questioned that when you dropped a paper ballot in a box that it wasn't counted. No one ever questioned if you were in a jurisdiction that had an electronic type of machine that it could make a mistake. And it was a national stage, and that created a new audience.
How you guys doing?
Obama and Romney must first find their audience. Their next challenge, getting them to the polling booths on November 6th. Even here in the US Capitol, that may not be so easy.
Maryland and a senator would be, oh help me, come on, I know these guys.
Nina Donaghy, CCTV, Washington.